I speak loudly anyway, so I'm pretty sure you guys will be able to hear me. But my name's Justin Sanford. I'm the clinical supervisor at Genesis. I've been at Genesis for 2.5 years. So I've been doing this work for a little bit. And I'm excited to share with you all today in this capacity. This isn't, as Tom pointed out, this isn't something I usually do. I usually don't speak in this capacity. Now, those of you that have been sat in groups with me will go, what are you talking about? Justin can go on rants and tangents and talk. But this is kind of a different situation we find ourselves in. Wanted to give you guys some sort of inspiration with this being a graduation and all. So I'll start with a story about my son. Again, those of you who've been in group with me, oh geez, he's talking about his son. But thank you for the one laugh there. So my son, he's playing varsity basketball this year. It's his first go at varsity basketball. We thought it was going to be just this incredible ride of a season where every night he was going to have a great game. Things have not gone to plan. He's had some not stellar performances. We've had conversations with him. I guess he's struggled in some senses to get along with the coach and the team. And he's just really been struggling. And I think some of that struggle has shown on the court. And so the season is almost halfway over already, right? So last week, they were playing against a team that really, they probably scheduled this team because they needed to be able to put a win in the win column, right? The team he's playing for struggles. So they need, when you're struggling to win, you schedule to play a team that you're going to beat, right? So they schedule to play this team. They beat this team by 30 or 40 points. My son had been in and out of the game throughout the game and kind of struggling to get it going. The last 4 minutes of the game, and again, this game was over a long time ago. The team's already up, 25, 30 points. The last 4 minutes of the game, my son just absolutely goes off. Every play is either a steal or a rebound by him, and on the other end, everything is either an assist or a basket or free throws made, and he ended up scoring the last 10 points of the game. What he did in that moment is he took this situation where everyone else is pretty much sleeping. He saw it as an opportunity to finally get himself going. And so today I want to talk about opportunity. And to just reflect on that a little bit. So how often do we sleep on opportunity? So there's an old story about a man who found himself in a situation where he needed to be rescued from a flood. He's on the roof of his house. The floodwaters have completely engulfed everything. And so he's praying his heart out to God to be rescued. A guy in a boat comes by. He yells up to him on the roof, "Hey, I'm here to rescue you." And he says, "No, don't worry about it. God's got it. God's got me covered. Thanks for coming out, but thanks." "Are you sure?" "Yes, yeah, I've been praying and God's gonna rescue me." "Okay." The boat paddles on by. Next thing you know, you hear the chopping in the sky. A helicopter flies over him, yells down at him, "Hey, we're here to rescue you." "Oh, thanks for the offer, but God has it. I've been praying to God and God's going to rescue me." "Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure." "Okay." And then the helicopter flies away. So eventually the man dies, right? I'm not going to tell you if he died in the flood or not because I really don't know. But he dies and goes to heaven. And he has a bone to pick with God, right? He's like, "God, why didn't you save me? I was praying and praying to be saved from this flood and you didn't save me." And God goes, "Well, I sent you a boat and I sent you a helicopter and you rejected both of them." Oftentimes, we miss the opportunities that God has given us. We miss the opportunities that God has given us. They can often be missed in the hustle and bustle of life. And this is also because those opportunities, they don't always show up in dramatic fashion. Sometimes they just kind of show up in the normal day-to-day of life. So what I'd like to do today is to share with you about a familiar story in Scripture. Now, I'm not gonna preach today, really, right? I'm a clinical supervisor. I'm a therapist. That's not my role to preach. But I do think this is a story from the Bible that can relate to all of us, regardless of what faith we're trying to follow. There's some good stuff in the story that I think is worth saying today as we celebrate our graduates. This story is a common known story in our culture. There's a few of those from the Bible. This one's the parable of the Good Samaritan. Some of you might be familiar with the story. It's basically this man is going along the way, and he gets jumped, basically. The thieves take all of his stuff, they beat him up, they leave him on the side of the road for dead. And then what happens is there's a couple people that come upon the man as they're traveling. Two of these people are like religious elite type people. They have prestigious and pompous religious jobs. They see the guy and they walk on by. The third guy to go by is what's known as a Samaritan, and we'll talk about that more in a second. He sees the guy, he immediately stops all of his plans for the day and makes sure that the guy is taken care of. It's the story of the Good Samaritan. Here's how it actually reads in the Bible. It's from Luke chapter 10 and verses 25 through 37. It says, on one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. Teacher, he asked, what must I do to inherit eternal life? What is written in the law? He replied. How do you read it? He answered, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus replies, you have answered correctly. Do that and you will live. But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, who is my neighbor? In reply, Jesus said, a man going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, he passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him into an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii, money basically, and gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have. Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers? Well, the expert says the obvious. He says, well, the one who had mercy on him. Jesus told him, go and do likewise. So we look at this story, and it becomes pretty evident that the story is about loving your neighbor. That's how people know this, right? That to love your neighbor means you actually have to do something. When you see someone in need, you should take care of them. I want to look at the story today as a story of missed opportunity. Well, what if the story is really it's about loving our neighbor because it's a story about missed opportunity? Today is opportunity. Today is graduation. We're celebrating graduation. It's an opportunity to go out, get your life back, do things differently. And so let's continue to reflect on opportunity today from the story. There's 3 missed opportunities. The first missed opportunity is to do the right thing. To do the right thing. See, I believe that human suffering should bother us, whether we are the ones suffering or not. I believe this is an important part of having a moral compass, to care about those who are suffering. Now, while many of you were deep in addiction, you felt alone, right? You wanted people to care about your pain. You didn't want to encounter people just to hear people call you addicts, or you're a failure, or you just screw everything up. You wanted to find people who wanted to listen and wanted to care and wanted to understand your suffering. You probably really wanted that. You probably felt strongly that if someone would just do that for you, that would be the right thing to do. Yet there's also probably many times in your addiction where the right thing was missed on our end. Maybe we weren't there for our kids because, we were out trying to figure out how to get our next hit, or because we were checked out from our using. We couldn't be consistent with the people that we wanted to do the right thing for. Addiction may have taken an opportunity away from us to do the right thing. God gives us opportunities to do the right thing every day. And what we see in the story of the parable of the Good Samaritan is we see 2 people who are known as religious elite. They are given this huge opportunity to do something about human suffering, and they choose to walk away. They are given this huge opportunity to make a difference in the suffering of someone else, and they choose to walk away. It's a missed opportunity to do the right thing. It's not just a missed opportunity to do the right thing, it's a missed opportunity to be blessed by an experience. So many people have pondered, well, what was going through the priest and the Levite's mind that they could see this person on the side of the road suffering and just choose to walk on? Like why would they do that? And if you decide to go down that rabbit hole yourself, which some of you are probably doing that right now, you're like, wait a second. There's been times that I could have chose to do the right thing, and I quickly figured out a way to justify not doing that thing. So our thoughts often justify us not doing the right thing. Here's some possible thoughts that the priest and the Levite had. I'm going to be late. Oh man, if I don't get there soon, my girlfriend, she's not going to be happy, and I'm going to hear it from her. Or I'm going to miss my appointment. Or I'm going to miss the Bengals game, which that's not really an excuse because the Bengals aren't playing today. These are justifications rooted in a common mental health condition we talk about, which is anxiety, right? Wait, what? What did Justin say? Yes. This justification is rooted in anxiety. We're worried about what's happening next. Think about anxiety for a moment. Anxiety has this ability to take us out of the present and into the future. And that future is kind of a scary future because we're anxious about it, and terrible things are going to happen to us in the future. And if our thoughts are consumed with that anxiety, we might be physically there in the present, but mentally we're not there. And when that happens, we miss opportunity, or we choose to not follow through on opportunity. Here's another justification that might have happened. The priest or Levite might have said, well, I mean, who am I anyways? What I do really doesn't matter that much. It's not really going to make that big a difference. I mean, nobody really cares anyways. Who cares? Like no one's cared about me. This justification is rooted in depression, another mental health struggle many of us have, where anxiety will take us out of the present and send us to the future. Depression throws us back into the past. We are constantly living in the past, and our mind is in the past, and though we might physically be present in the here and now, we're not there because our patterns of negative thinking are taking us somewhere in the past, somewhere where we got stuck and we can't move forward. And when our thought lives are consumed by that, we miss the opportunities that are in front of us right now. So, opportunities come our way. We often miss them. We can beat ourselves up over that, or we can recognize that, hey, there's like real struggles that go on that keep us from making that choice to do the right thing in the present. But we also need to understand when we don't make that choice to do something right now in the present, it takes us away from this amazing experience. When we choose to do something to help human suffering, it can be an amazing experience for us. So a little story about me, and I'm not the hero of the story at all. But my wife and I, over a decade ago, chose to adopt a sibling group. And one of the things I struggled with throughout all that, because my wife was kind of the spearhead of the whole thing. But one of the things I struggled with through all of that was like I like my family the way it is. You know, at the time we had a boy and a girl. They were 3 years apart. You know, my wife and I, we got along well. It was like the perfect family of four. And we're actually gonna bring in 2 kids into our lives that, you know, they're gonna be carrying with them, you know, all this trauma from what happened to them in their early lives. And we're gonna have to, that's gonna be a part of our family now. We're gonna have to manage that and help them through that. Maybe it'd be a lot easier to just continue as our perfect little family of 4. But let me tell you this. If we would have said no to that, yes, life would have been good, but we would have had no idea about the experiences that we missed out on. We would have had no idea on these amazing things that we would never get to experience by saying no to that. To be able to see these girls grow and to get involved in activities they like and to find themselves and to make friends and do all these great things, we would have missed out on all of that, to be able to walk alongside them in all of that. And so when we say no to doing the right thing, we also might be missing an opportunity to have a great experience ourselves. But lastly, the third missed opportunity in the story is the opportunity for your neighbor to be blessed by you. The third opportunity that's missed is for your neighbor to be blessed by you. When we embrace opportunities to both do the right thing and have an amazing experience, it ultimately benefits so much more people than just ourselves. In the parable, when the Samaritan provides mercy to the beat up man, it doesn't just impact the 2 of them. Think about it. It impacts every person in their circle. We don't, in the same way that we can think about, okay, what in the world was going through the priest and Levite's mind when they saw human suffering and said no, we can also think about what really was the impact of this decision of the Samaritan to help the human suffering. Well, what if the guy that got beat up, what if he was on his way to see his kids? What if he was on his way to see his wife? Well, what if he was on his way to do something like really significant? What if he had a community of people that loved him? And if no one stepped in and did anything, it wouldn't just be that this one guy is suffering and we let that go. Now there's like a whole community of people that are going to be suffering because no one helped this one person. So I want us to think about that. As we celebrate graduation, as people go out today to live their recovery, this recovery isn't just yours. It doesn't just belong to you. It belongs to your parents. It belongs to your kids that haven't had a mom or dad in their life consistently for the past few months, years. It belongs to your neighbors who get the old you back and are going to be excited about that and are going to celebrate with you. Your recovery isn't just yours. It belongs to everybody in your circle, because when you get yourself better, there's a ripple effect, and it benefits the many people around you in your daily life. I want us to think about the Samaritan. And I said I was going to talk about that, the significance of this. So, the Samaritan, you could easily switch the word Samaritan in the story with addict or with homeless person. Whatever thing that society might look at a group of people and judge them with a label, you could probably put that there into the parable to make it apply today. The significance of Jesus choosing to talk about a Samaritan doing the right thing is that the people of his day did not like Samaritans. This was a people group that was despised. And I'm not going to go into the rabbit hole of why, but this is a very, it was not cool to be one of these people. But yet the Samaritan is the hero of the story. Because when we're with Jesus, okay, we see this time and time again. Jesus makes those who are low and outcast in society the heroes of the story. Okay? They make those who are low and outcast and those who have been given up on, those people are the heroes in Jesus' story. You all, dare I say it, could be the heroes in Jesus' story. So when we celebrate graduation today, and it's going to be an awesome thing, understand you are, and again, I don't want to get like preachy, because that's not my role, but you are in a kingdom. You are invited to a table of heroes who are going to go out and love the world. You are in good company. You are in that cloud of witnesses. Notice the opportunities God is putting before you to do the right thing, to have a good experience in the process, and to truly love your neighbor. That's all I've got.